Healthy Business Podcast. I'm Ty King. With me today,
Jessica Tolliver.
as always. And Jessica, you never know like what the subject is going to be because I just sort of spring it up on you. We don't.
I love that. I love operating on the fly.
Right. So today we're going to be talking a little bit about like who's in your corner, like
Okay.
when it comes to your business.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that's an like boxing term. You know what I mean? Got to have the coach there. Got to have somebody to towel you off and throw you back into the fight, hype you up again. And so like, who is it that inspired you or sort of mentored you through business? Who did you look at in order to, proceed with your own business and learn lessons from them, that type of thing,
That's a really interesting question. I love the question specifically because if you're a growing business, you're probably watching a lot of podcasts and reading books and looking to all of these people that say, this is how you build a wonderful, multi-billion-dollar business overnight. And all of them will say something like, you need to get a mentor. You need to find someone to mentor you. And it's not that easy. Mentoring it's hard to find one person who you're like, I want to be that guy, especially if you're in a service industry.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of people out there that are doing the same thing, and if you go duplicate what they're doing, you're just going to be another one of them. And so it's a fine line between someone who can help you grow and then also setting yourself apart.
Yeah.
So it's something that I struggle with because I do a lot of different things in my business than are done in my industry.
Right.
And I do that specifically because I see something and I think, well, I don't think that's being done right. So I'm being a trailblazer trying to change that. So finding someone to mentor me in an unknown path is difficult. So I think the answer to your question is I have to have a huge corner.
Exactly. You have to have a huge corner. And just to amend something you said earlier, so like it's hard to find a good mentor.
Oh.
Like it's easy to find mentors out there. Like you Google that.
There's
and
not
like,
a
oh
shortage of
my
people that will give you an
God.
opinion.
Yeah, for sure. And like even you throw a post out on social media and be like, hey, I'm looking for somebody that can help me do this. People tag their friends, and of course it's very gimmicky type of stuff where it's like, hey, I can do this. This is like, what? Didn't you just come out of the construction industry? How are you now a massage therapist? That you can. Anyways, it's crazy. Lots of like I say, gimmicky businesses out there, and it's so easy. And the overhead to start a business where you are a business consultant, quote unquote, is zero. So you can get on there, create a free website, create your free social media, create a free, everything you do. There's no overhead whatsoever. It just, you had to dedicate maybe an hour or two and create, whatever out of the blue. And then all of a sudden you have a consultancy business and you claim to be qualified to be able to help other people run their businesses, even though you've never had a successful business.
It's a really important point because people who are starting their own businesses usually are experts in their field, or at least somewhat expert, and they're knowledgeable about their field. So I didn't become a massage therapist to be a bookkeeper. Like, I didn't become a massage therapist to market. I didn't, there's a lot of things that are not in my field, but as a business owner, you have to be all of those things. So I think that you're making a great point about know who you're dealing with, and don't just give money to anyone, because it can be overwhelming. It can be overwhelming to say, I don't know how to do these things, and someone comes along and says, I can help you, and you want to say yes, and their fees are reasonable, and you feel like the weight of the world is going to come off your shoulders, but in reality, that's not necessarily how it's going to happen. So one thing that's interesting that we should add to this is networking. Finding a network of people that you can take a little tidbits and learn from all of their successes. So just because I do the massage and bodywork doesn't mean I can't learn from a builder. Doesn't mean I can't learn from someone else who's had similar problems in their business that maybe aren't massage related but are business related. I can definitely look to them for that.
Right, for sure. Like I wouldn't have met you if it wasn't for like networking events and that type of stuff. And you've helped me a lot on lots of different subjects. I was having trouble with, and it's like massage therapist, and what I do is very different. So it's like, but your experience in business period across the board, and like the creativity you have to have as a business owner, absolutely helps me to bounce ideas off of people. Of course, networking groups, and even all the different networking, business networking groups that I'm part of. Finding those people that I really find value in, their word and their experience, and be like, hey, can you help me with this? Or like, what have you done in this? Have you ever had this problem before? And so, yeah, that greatly helps me. Absolutely, 100%. And I would say, like, just throwing your money at somebody and telling you, hey, mentor me. It doesn't always work. And, like, it rarely ever does. And, like, those people are getting paid regardless. And so they will, be inclined to just tell you whatever you want to hear at the moment.
True, and they're also coming from their own autobiographical background.
Exactly.
So anyone who says this is the one way and the only way is probably not the best person for you. One of the things in my business that I strive to enforce, or rather make part of our business plan, is that every person that walks through the door is an individual. I don't have like one routine. I don't treat everybody the same exact way. Not everyone gets the same exact treatment or questions. Or I was actually talking to my office manager the other day about talking with clients. Well, some clients we go through 90 minutes and never say a word, and some clients we go through 90 minutes and I got to take a lozenge afterwards because we've been talking nonstop. And it's because I try to meet people where they are. Sure. So finding someone who is successful in a way that you want to be successful. So I run my business debt free. I'm not going to take advice from someone who's 100K in debt. I feel like with regards to money, but I might take advice to them by who they're choosing to operate their website. They might be making good choices, just maybe not all of the good choices.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Being able to talk to people and listen. Yeah, that's a big part of it. Is actually listen to the feedback that you're getting and then taking it all into account and then testing it out. You know what I mean? Because obviously, they may be speaking from their own experience, and your experience may be different, but like it might be a similar situation where you have to just take that and sort of, okay, well, I'm gonna look at my situation, say what they did, apply that, and let's see what happens. And it's sort of you're a scientist. When you're a business owner, you're a scientist. You're testing out all kinds of different things, coming up with new theories, disproving things that have already been proven. Oh man, it's crazy. So yeah, I think another thing for me was a few books that I've read. And I'm not downing. By the way, I'm not downing at all the people who hire business coaches. Business coaches are different because they sort of get you on the hype train and be like, you can do it. You're going to get out there and you're going to do this, 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 and this. And so that's great. You do need motivation and somebody there. And if you don't have somebody that's regularly in your ear telling you that you can do this, then yeah, the little demons inside.
It can get very lonely, and it can get very daunting to feel like you're the only one. Most businesses start out as a guy with an idea, and then you go from there. That you don't. Most businesses don't open with 150 on staff.
Yeah.
Of course there's some things, but for the most part, new businesses. You get a guy with an idea, even a franchise. Like, you're a guy with an idea, I'm going to get a franchise. So you have to go through all the steps. You got to figure out how to get, which one to get, how to get, where to find the capital, how to do the property, blah, blah. And then you hire your people. But it's still started out small. And if you feel like you're alone, some days you can wake up and just feel like you can't do it. And you got to have somebody helping you stay on point.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I was helping somebody dissolve a business just a few days ago, and like you're walking them through the steps of like it's insane. All the fees that you have to. It costs more to close business than it is to operate a business.
Oh wow! Pro tip: don't close your business.
Don't close your business. Just keep going. If it gets down, remember it costs more to close it. So yeah, just keep going. Bend your direction a little bit if you have to. I was going to say, one of the books that really influenced me was Michael Gerber, who wrote The E-Myth, and there's a whole series of the E-Myth books that he wrote out there, and it's sort of like, well, the E-Myth, the entrepreneurial myth, is that because you started a business, you're an entrepreneur. He said that's a myth. You can start a business with an entrepreneurial thought, but it doesn't make you an entrepreneur.
Right.
And so, like, anybody can have that spark of an idea of, hey, you know what? I heard somebody was talking about this problem they have, and I've got a solution that might be able to fix that.
And to add to that, if you have to be there on point, the only person making money, you're not an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
You're just a guy doing a job. And you have to be able to figure out how to get your business functioning without you.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's the hardest part, because most people don't know how to do that until they learn, in which case then you become the mentor.
Well, like I said, you didn't start your business to become, you didn't go to school to become the bookkeeper or to office cleaner, all the different roles that you have to fill for your business.
And you have to,
that's part of it.
Yeah, and as a new business owner, you have to fill those roles until you're making money. I think in an earlier episode we talked about how you have to know when to start farming it out. Like you can't just do that day one because no one's giving you money yet.
Right, right.
One of the things that I read in a book, it was talking about mentors specifically. It said, if you ask and they say yes, they're probably not the one. You need to find someone who's going to say no a couple of times, and you stay on them, because once they realize that you're dedicated, they're more likely to want to be the person who mentors you.
Right. Yeah, it's so tricky, because it's like I found like the best mentors for me have been the people that are like, I'm not paying them, and they're doing it completely for free, and they're staying on me to do this, and it's like they're not getting some sort of monetary value or anything like that out of it. They're doing it because they believe in what I'm doing, and they know that I can, and they know that they had to have somebody that pushed them, and so like they're just sort of paying it forward type of situation.
And to add to that, if you aren't doing the work, they'll ghost you.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to be that person. Not only you got to find someone to inspire you, but then you have to do the work. If they say you need to have a business plan, well then you need to have a business plan. And that's your next step. If you believe in them and you think that they have value for you, then when they give you a task, you need to find a way to complete it. And if you don't, then you're not going to have that mentor anymore.
Right. Yeah. Yep. You're dead on.
So what kind of people do we have to have in our corner besides people that inspire us and give us guidance?
I mean, family is a big one. Family members or friends or people you're closely,
Yeah, I'm going to say your inner circle. Not everyone has a family they can depend on.
That's why I say it loosely.
Yeah, so that definitely an inner circle that you can trust.
Right.
You need to have some people that you can walk up to and be honest. One of the things I have my office manager, I love her to death because she's my no person.
Yeah.
She's the only person I know that will tell me no. I walk up and I say, I have this great idea, and she says no. I'm like, oh, I guess it's not a great idea. She also will tell me when it is.
Yeah.
But you have to have someone who's willing to tell you no. Like, a spouse probably won't tell you no. Like, my husband, he's like, oh, yeah, it's a great idea. You got this. You're the best. I'm like, yeah, I don't believe you. Sorry, dude. Like, maybe you're right.
It's unrealistic.
But I think you're a little biased. I've got a lot of people in my life. They're just they look up to me.
Sure.
So everything I do, they think is just awesome.
Yeah.
Even if it's not.
Right.
So find a mentor and find you a no person.
Yeah, for sure. It's so similar. I was just thought about this, but like I do a lot of work with people that are getting out of prison and helping them, be successful in not re-entering prison, re-enter society instead of re-entering prison. And like it's the same thing. They have to have a mentor. They have to have a support system, an inner circle they can rely on, keep them accountable, and have people that are able to help you wherever they can. You know what I'm saying?
And they have to be willing to accept that help.
And put the work in.
Yep.
Like you said, you have to do the work, or else people will ghost you because they'll get tired. If you're just lazy and you depend on everybody else to just do everything for you, it's not going to work out.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I don't care how much money you throw at it. You know what I mean? It's you can't keep people just purely on that. So
I've had several people that I've worked with that I hand them things. I'm a giver. I'm a very generous person. I want people to succeed. Everything that I do is about making the world around me better, not just me better.
Sure.
And I've had people where I'm like, okay, well, let me help you get started. You're going to have this business, so I'll build you a quick website because I have a background in web development. So it's nothing great like what you do, but it's just something to get them started. I have a little more knowledge than they do. Yeah. And then I'm like, okay, let's do this. Now all I need you to do is give me some pictures.
Sure.
Crickets. Well, you know what I'm not doing? Helping that person anymore.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's what we're doing with the podcast anyway. So it's like I've got a little bit of knowledge on microphones and cameras and stuff, but I mean it's very small. And like you've been doing more research than recently, and like I don't know, between the two of us, maybe we'll figure this thing out.
Absolutely.
Hopefully it sounds better. We got the mic up, so and trying to figure out the thing with Apple still, but I think cameras trying to figure that, and so like it's a process.
Yeah, we could have waited until it was perfect.
Yeah.
But it could be a while before it's perfect. But I just moved into this new space, and there's a lot of things that need to be done. I need a lamp here. I need a hook there. But I didn't know those things until I got in the space and lived here. And that's kind of why I really like that we're developing this podcast like on the fly, because we're able to show people it doesn't have to be perfect to get started.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be perfect to do the first one. And, you know, I hope that we're 100 episodes in before long.
Yeah, I hope it's better than
and
first.
then
Yeah.
and then look back and go, oh, look how far we've come. Because those,
Yeah.
those little milestones are also important.
Right. Hopefully we're embarrassed by the first one.
I like to think of it as, you know.
Humble beginnings. Yeah,
Yes,
that's up
yes.
to thing. Yeah, okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah, that sounds good. So yeah, I don't know, doing your own research, putting the work in, getting the right people in place. I don't know. Do you have anybody else in your mind that you would want in your corner besides your inner circle mentor figure? Obviously, a financial backer would be great, but I mean,
Yes.
but not everybody has that. Very few people actually have those. Shark Tank isn't ready for you to get on the show every time you create a new
Right.
business, and so.
You know, set some time aside to do some self-learning. You can't always learn from other people. Sometimes you got to get out there and read the book. You got to
for sure.
listen to the podcast. You got to, you know, watch the show.
Yeah, 100%.
I've learned so much from watching, not so much reality TV, but kind of reality TV, but watching people, like watching Shark Tank,
Same.
watching how people are acting and interacting and seeing how they're behaving in the world. That helps me deal with a person like that in my world.
For sure.
So, and that's not something you can always someone can just tell you. Sometimes you just have to go out and do that.
Yeah, for sure. Like I always say, the best class I ever took for college was social psychology, and it like teaches you how people's minds work, what draws them in, and like universally, what are the facial expressions that people recognize, that type of stuff. And so, like you're saying, I watch even when I was a kid. So I didn't want that Southern accent, and so I used to study movies, like the way actors spoke in the movies, and I would practice it and practice it and practice it until I worked out the Southern accent. You know what I mean? And so just trying to form my voice to be whatever I wanted it to be. But yeah, similarly now, I watch just podcasts that don't necessarily have anything to do with like building businesses or that type of thing. It's like I watch a lot of I'm into video games and movies and that type of stuff, and so I'll watch pop culture podcasts. And I'll see how this group of people is talking to each other, and like I'll learn from that. And then I'll watch like a business podcast, and I'll learn how to and sort of intertwine all those things.
Yeah, if you're going to have a really, really successful business, you can't just copy someone else.
Sure.
If you're really going to have, if you have dreams and aspirations of taking off, you really have to forge your own way. That's one of the things another thing I struggle with when people are saying, oh, I want to do the thing. And I'm like, okay, well, here's some tools. I always tell people, don't think about where you want to be.
Yeah.
Think about where you want to be in 10 years from then. Like, what does success look like, and then what might you want to do? Like, I realized when I started my business that I was going to be me. I didn't really have plans to open a big massage clinic. I didn't have any plans to even hire anyone else. But I thought about the fact that what if one day I did? Or what if one day I wanted to sell the business? Or what if one day I had other aspirations besides just doing me and the work, and that would be it? And I chose my business name accordingly. You know, a lot of people put their name in their business name, which isn't bad, and it can definitely work for you. But I specifically chose my name so that maybe one day I would have some options in the future.
Sure.
So always keep an eye on just beyond what you think you want to do, because keep those doors open.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I would say yeah. To see where you want to be in 10 years, and then start working towards that, and like making plans now and setting things in place so that in 10 years you can do those types of things that you can potentially be what you call success. However you measure that,
Right.
you can work your way up towards that.
So I was actually talking to someone who was putting together a networking group one time, and they were going to do, it was just twice a month. And I said, well, maybe you should think about this, this, and this. And she was like, whoa. I'm like, well, do you want to be more than twice a month? She's like, no, never. Like, wouldn't it be so great to be in such demand that you couldn't do it just twice a month? Like, even if you don't ever want to change, like, wouldn't that be nice? And she's like, well, yeah. I'm like, well, then you need to make your path based on that kind of growth. And be open to be able to have that kind of growth.
Sure.
So you start planning on being wildly successful while staying in your lane.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. And I guess the type of so what is it going to take in order for you to get there? And so, like you said, studying other podcasts and TV and whatever kind of media you want to consume, books, and just read about it. Using those people as sort of mentors that don't really know that you're a mentor because you're studying them and like learning from them, but also in taking all those things, applying them, and not losing your voice. So your personal voice, like it's going to be, you can't, like you said, you can't just completely emulate somebody else because, I mean, one, it's impossible unless you're just an impression artist, or like it's not going to work because you are who you are and they are who they are. And so,
and they've already done them.
Yeah, right. You've lived your whole life to being this one person. You can't be somebody else, and so we're not switching skins. And so you're just sort of learning from them and adding to your own personal, your personal voice. And so like, I don't know. So I draw in from like I said, the different voices I was studying, the way people interact with each other, but I also know like who I am. I'm a little off. You know what I mean? I understand that I'm not like your typical type of what you think of as a business professional. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not the square shouldered. You know what I mean? And just smiling and shaking hands and that type of stuff. I'm a little. I don't know. I guess I call it more grounded. So.
Well, and I love that you're willing to pursue in spite of.
Yeah.
So it's okay to be different. It's actually better.
Yeah.
And if you can't be in touch with who you are and you're trying to masquerade as something else, then you're gonna lose yourself.
Sure. Yeah. And people can tell.
Yes.
People can read right through that. I mean, you may think you're putting on a mask and everybody can't see behind it, but absolutely they can. So that's great. Of course, mentor, inner circle, and
no
consume
man.
media. Yes.
Yes. Gotta have a no man. I mean,
a no man.
Yeah, it was. Everyone's always have those are someone has their yes man. Well, you need a no man.
Yes. Yeah. Somebody to tell you now. That's very important. Not everything, but just.
Well, someone will look at you realistically and bring you back to the ground when you're like, if I just bought the city block and did this, you're like, yeah, no.
Yeah.
Dial it back.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, anything else you want to add to this one?
No, I love the topic and probably we'll revisit it again, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. Plenty. Yeah, this doesn't ever stop. Like it's at the beginning of the business, but it goes continuously throughout your career. As long as you're living and breathing, you're going to need these things.
One thing I did think about before we go, you were talking about I am me and being in touch with yourself.
Sure.
Be okay with being a different person in a year, in 5 years, in 10 years. Once your mind is expanded by some knowledge or an idea, you then have the choice to make different choices with your life. You may decide you want to have a different focus, or you may decide that you want to revamp the concept, or you may decide that you want to change your hair color, whatever. It doesn't mean that you're not still being authentic. It just means that you're growing.
For sure. I think that's a whole new subject on its own, but absolutely. Yeah, you're inevitably going to become a different person once you reach that year mark and look back and be like, oh, you know what, I do things a little different now. I didn't realize it at the time. But yeah, it's like gradual growth, and you look at yourself. You don't look at yourself in the mirror for 5 months, and then you look in the mirror and you're like, oh, I've either put on some muscle or put on some weight. You know what I mean? So it's like,
I'm hoping in a year we look back after 100 episodes and I'm like, oh, look how much weight I lost.
Yeah, I look good now. That's good. So that's awesome.
Well, cool.
Yeah.
Love the topic. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, we'll revisit a lot of these in the future. Every time we bring up a subject, we always talk about like 50 other things that have to be involved into it, and that's just like kind of how business is. It's like it's a spider web of stuff, and so like there's all the different subjects, and we'll come back and visit and elaborate more on that. So and hopefully we've got some guests coming up on future episodes, and hopefully get some more perspectives on that besides just us.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Wonderful.
Absolutely. All right, Jessica, well, thank you. And if you are listening to this on a podcast service, then you can find us on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, then you can find us on any of the podcast services like Podbean and Spotify and Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, all of the above around the world. And until next time, Jessica.
Thanks, Ty.
Thanks for being here. Bye.